Alrighty, I've taken the forks to the to Gav, and I also took the triple tree to him as well, and he said that the bearings are pretty much shot, so he's going to put some needle bearings in there. The old bearings that were in there weren't needle ones, they were just basically they have this thing which is called a race, and they have all the ball bearings sitting in there. I just mocked up one for you guys. So that's basically what it looks like. It just has two races and then the ball bearing in the middle, and that just turns like so. This is the top one, but that one's not too bad. Actually, this might be the bottom one. Can't remember. Oh, no, the big one's the bottom one. Yeah. Anyway, you can see on this one here all this this rust here and all the pitting, and what happens is when this happens, basically this happens when like just water runs down in there. But what happens is the little ball bearings get stuck in those little pits, and you get some tight spots in your steering because of that. And especially if you keep it that way and re-torque it back up with some of the ball bearings lodged in those little crevices, it'll create like really tight spots and then loose spots in your steering. So this is like an old system. They don't really use this. They have them in the old bikes, but in the new bikes they have needle bearings. So I'm going to replace them with needle bearings. So basically these are called races, and these used to sit in the neck of the bike. They used to sit in there, sort of like that. Yeah, they're like pressed in there, and I just knocked those out. Pretty sure that's. Anyway, yeah, they sit in there, sort of thing. They're press fit. So how you get them out is you just get a big rod of steel like this, and then you just get a hammer and come in. Like if you're getting the bottom one out, you come in and knock that side, knock that side, knock that side, and do like figure eights and knock it really slowly. You want to knock it out really straight, because if you knock it out on that side and keep on doing it, it makes a massive gouge down the side, and then it sort of ovals out the inside. So when you put the new one in the ball bearings, it won't go right. So you got to be really careful. And also, same goes for when you're putting in the new needle bearings. You got to make sure you put them in, knock them in straight. You sort of have like a new race for the needle bearings to sit in, and yeah, you got to make sure that you knock that in perfectly true. Basically, how you do that is you put the needle bearing on there like so, and you get a big socket, and then you just you put the socket over it and knock it with a hammer and knock it in really nice and true. So I've had all the races out now, and you can see the bottom one's out as well. But what I've got to do now is clean it all up, and I've got to make sure there's no imperfections in there, because you can see on this one it's got a little bit of a gouge there. I just got to make sure there's no raised bits. So if there is, I just got to sand them back, because if you put the new races in there and it's got a gouge, it'll gouge them all up and make it, you know, you don't want any bites in there sort of thing, because when it's turning it can lock and all sorts of dramas. So I've got to get some degreaser, clean that all out, because there's all grease in there at the moment, and if there's a little bit of sand in the grease, then I'm screwed. So yeah, spray it out with degreaser, really nice, clean it up well, and then just run my finger over it and make sure there's no raised bits. The top one seems fine, but I think that bottom one may need a little bit of sanding, or it's just, yeah, because there's no gouges around it other than just there. So not too good. So I've got to sand that back lightly and just get rid of those raised bits. So I have the forks back to Sabo, and then I've got to knock the new needle bearings in there, put the triple tree back on, and put it all back together again. So yeah, should be back together by tomorrow, and then I can race it around again. Alright, see you later.